Hey everyone, thanks for joining us on the Live Fearlessly video podcast series. I'm joined today with Jill Lublin, and let me tell you a little bit about Jill while we dive in here. So thanks for joining us. Jill is an international speaker on the topics of radical influence, publicity, networking, kindness, and referrals, which those are all amazing things. And she is a author of 4 books, which I can see them behind you, Jill, and I love that touch. That's amazing. I love it. Jill is a master strategist on how to position your business for more profitability and more visibility in the marketplace. She is a CEO of the strategic consulting firm and has over 25 years experience working with over 100,000 people plus national and international media. Jill teaches a virtual publicity crash course and consults and speaks all over the world. Jill, thank you so much for joining us today. And I would love for you to start by telling us where you're located.
Sure, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
I am in Northern California, probably warmer than where you are right now.
Yeah, yes, Central Wisconsin. However, we are snow-free.
That's a good thing. I'm from Michigan originally, so I understand snow.
Yes, it's beautiful, but I'm happy we're snow-free right now. It's good. So that's awesome. So are you, so you said you're from Michigan and you're located in California. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So to give you guys a little bit of back, how did I get connected with Jill? I connect with so many amazing leaders, and Jill specifically, her and I actually met through the Women's Connection Company. We were both at an event, Polka Dot Powerhouse, and we connected there, and I got to hear a little bit about Jill, and I was like, we need to connect further and have her in here to share some of her knowledge and experience with us. So super excited to dive in to get to know you more, Jill. And I love to start out with a fun fact or something interesting about you that maybe we wouldn't know just looking at your Facebook or LinkedIn profile. What's something you would like to share with us?
Well, one thing is that I have 4 cats. Some people have kids. I got books and cats, 4 of each.
Yeah.
four books, 4 cats, and they got fun names too. So that's fun.
I love it. I'm all about fun, so that's super cool. And I love that it's 4 books and 4 cats. That's great. So what we're going to do today is talk about fear, and specifically a time in your life when fear held you back from living your life fully. So where does your mind go when asked that question?
Honestly, probably more my childhood. Isn't that interesting? Meaning, it's interesting because as I've reflected how I've grown up, I was actually incredibly shy, which I think is about fear. Now that I understand it, right? And so it's funny because here I am, public speaker and books out and helping people with my publicity courses and all kinds of great stuff. But guess what? I was afraid to put myself out there. And that's probably actually why I can help so many people. I wasn't as much as I am now, extrovert and gregarious and all that fun stuff that I am now. And this is who I am. But I had to grow into it. I had to learn. I had to train myself. I had to get great coaches and mentors. I did a lot of my own personal development work and therapy, and all of that made a huge difference.
Yeah, I love it. And that is a big thing that so many people do have a fear around, is really being fully seen. I think it's showing up in being an authentic human and letting people see the vulnerability and see the things that we're going through while we're growing through them, right? Because that's where that fear comes. We can really look at fear as, I like to talk about fear as in a relationship. So I talk a lot about fear being toxic or fear being beneficial. And that beneficial fear is really to help you grow and to push you outside the comfort zone, to know it'll be a little bit uncomfortable. However, on the other side of that is this growth that will over, over the long term, it will be so beneficial for you and the people that you're showing up in confidence to like show yourself to. Can you imagine, Jill, can you imagine if you wouldn't have published those 4 books? Like the lives that you've impacted with getting your message out there. I want to just drive that home with the people that are listening to hear, like, her fear was being seen and really known for like her expertise, but like, look at what she's moved through in order to show up and give value to the people around her, and like how valuable that is. Amazing. Thank you so much for, stepping through that and getting uncomfortable in order to help so many people. What your bio said, 100,000 people.
It's true. Thank you. Thank you. And, sometimes I think people see certain things like, oh, she's got these books, and oh, she speaks all over the world, and oh, what people think, right? But the truth is, me, like all of you, has had my struggles and my journey and my figuring things out and my falling down and getting up again and falling down, and, all the things that we do as entrepreneurs, as humans, as I've had my struggles, all of us. And I think that's important to realize. And when you look at people and you say, oh, they have this or that, or celebrities are a great example, that behind that success not only are just normal people dealing with their own insecurities and stuff up, and we've all got it, right?
Yes, we all come against different challenges, and it really is that decision to, go through it so that you can grow in the moment, or to stay stagnant and stay still. And that's where we don't want any of you to be. So I love this right away out the gate. I'm so excited for this. So Jill, talking about your story specifically, like, where were you mentally when that was happening, when you were being held back right before you had the shift? Where were you mentally, and how did you feel about yourself during that time? Can you tell us more about that?
So I would tell you that I never felt good enough. I always felt like there was something more that I needed to do or be, right? And I think that, as a kid, I know it sounds funny, I felt really ugly. I had these really ugly glasses and this curly hair, which was not in style at the time. Everybody had straight hair, or so it seemed. Of
Yeah.
course they didn't, but so it seemed. These freckles, like, what were freckles? They just seemed odd to me. So
you literally just said everything that I love about facial features. As a portrait photographer, I love curly hair, I love freckles, like,
well, but that's what's interesting, right? And the things that I've come to love as beautiful and as unique were the very things that before maybe it was like, oh, I think this is a lot. I don't know about all of you, but I'm like, oh, if only I had straight long hair and I got short curly hair, or, if only I had beautiful skin that's free of, what I saw. It took one man who said, oh, those are kisses from God. I thought, oh, that is beautiful. Then I could love my freckles. But when as you're growing up, or then when the sun starts and all of a sudden I become more freckly, or whatever it is that we all think about ourselves, it just fascinates me, because I think those are the holdbacks. And listen, I've listened to models talk about this. I mean, gorgeous models who say, oh, my thigh is too big. I'm like, what? I think we've all got this stuff about things about us that we don't shall we say, love just the way it is.
Yeah. And that's so true. And I think the power that we have is to work on the tools and that are our mindset, right? Everything is about mindset and how we approach whatever the challenge is, and framing it to be that growth or that stagnation, and really being able to show up in the confidence to say, like, I need to be seen, I need to be heard, because someone else needs the message. I think that's a lot of where people get caught up in the fear space of, showing up as themselves, is that they don't know that it's going to be valuable. So anchoring that belief in one another and having that belief, I think, is so powerful. So when you were moving out of that fear, right? You're talking about your childhood specifically. So was there Was there any like specific point where you were seeing a shift in how you were thinking about being seen more?
Well, and I say my childhood, but truthfully, it went all the way to college years, all the
Right.
way to, frankly, probably really in my mid 20s when I really think about that. And I think part of what happened is that I started going to personal development retreats. That
Mm,
actually helped me a lot, right? It
yeah.
just helped me overcome my stuff, helped me face what I was feeling and process through it. But I think, Rebecca, this is a lifelong journey. There's stuff that'll come up, and like there it is again. That part of me that doesn't feel worthy, or that doesn't want to be seen, or is scared. I feel a fear. What I've learned though about fear in particular is when I feel that fear, especially about like maybe working with someone, like picking certain coaches, I actually move toward it now because I'm like, oh, if I'm afraid of something, that's probably something I should look into. That's probably somebody I should work
Yeah.
with. And when I love when people say to me, "Oh, I'm a little afraid of you," I'm like, "This is great," because that's that because somehow something's getting brought up to heal, in my opinion, right? And I
Yeah.
think life's a great journey of healing those parts of us that are afraid, or in my case, afraid to show up. Now I'm helping others show up
Yes.
beautifully. I mean, how wonderful is that?
Yeah, seriously, I resonate with that very much too. It's very much about sharing the challenges that we've grown through and being able to turn around and help the person that's a little bit behind us, right? That's why that's why we need coaches. That's why we need support systems and communities in place to show us that, we're not in this alone. There's other people that have gone through the struggles that have found ways to be more supported um and celebrated for that, and we can help them. So that's exactly what you're doing. I love that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And as my coach likes to say, he says to me, "I'm a toe ahead of you in the water." I mean, kind of like that, exactly what you're saying.
A toe ahead of you in the water. That's good. I like that. Um, okay, so like as you're mentioning, okay, so you notice it in your childhood and it's a lifelong really like recognizing it throughout your life and really coming to think about your late 20s is when you were really like, okay, here it is, and being more aware of it. I think that's the biggest thing is awareness to catch ourselves now, right? Like now you've found tools that support it, and it's building that awareness to, stop the fear in its tracks faster so that you can pivot. This is the year of pivoting. So pivot and then move from there, right? Accordingly. So um, when that was happening, like in your life experience, what compelled you to move through the fear? Like, what was a pusher for you in your late 20s that you remember, or at any point, really?
I think one part was to start dealing with the personal relationships in my family. It was a dysfunctional family. So, how could I love my mother more, who I, had a lot of trouble with, let's just say.
Okay.
And I think it just came to a part where I started really being aware of what I needed to work on. Because for me, I like taking responsibility for me, right? I mean,
Mm,
yeah, everybody was crazy the way they were crazy, but the question is, am I going to continue that? Or,
right.
can I start the healing process? You hear women talk about this who've been sexually abused, right? That, that's serious stuff. But there comes a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to just heal myself. There's nothing they can
Yeah.
do about anything that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true, right? What's done is done, but like, how can we grow from there and move forward, um, and be some kind of a support and a light for other people that you can hopefully help avoid the issue or the conflict or the challenge, or move them faster through it than what you had because you've lived through it, the experience, and you have the tools to support them more.
Yes, yes.
I love it. I love it. So what advice would you give the viewers when they're feeling that and when they're feeling like they don't want to be seen? What kind of advice would you give the people in that area?
So I would say baby steps, right? Baby steps. To me, publicity does not have to be you getting on, Good Morning America or it be in the New York Times. You don't have to do, you could get in your local paper and get quoted. You can have one quote, right? You can get announcements which are completely free about a project you're working on or some kind of focus you have. So I'm really in baby steps, and the first baby step is knowing what your message is, because you know how it is when you say to somebody, what do you do? And they're like, deer in headlights kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I want people to be, shall we say, feeling confident. And the way that I know feeling confident happens is that you know your message and you're more powerful in your delivery. And that makes a big difference. That makes a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. That is definitely a way to show up in more confidence, is to have the awareness and to be able to walk in with confidence, to know, you being seen is a benefit for other people. And I love that you mentioned it doesn't have to be this big grand thing. It can be showing up for one person. I always talk about how when we share, even like on here, right? There's one person that takes something from it. Like that is an audience. One person makes up an audience, and it doesn't have to be that huge thing. But showing up and having the confidence to share, I think is super important. And I love that you said baby steps, because I'm all about small, consistent shifting to really create a giant forward momentum. We can put that to so many things in our life, to realize that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be the small things that really do add up to the big things.
Yeah, and I think that's the key for life, right? Take the small steps. When I started putting more self-care, for instance, in my schedule, it was, get outside for 10 minutes, all right? Just sometimes I'd have to force myself out that door on that walk. But boy, when I was out there, it felt good, right? And it's just that, sometimes exercise starts with putting on your gym shoes.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Get the ball rolling. That's like getting into action and having those baby steps. It's like we have to take one step in order to just get the ball rolling and to build that momentum up. So take the baby step. So we want to hear from you guys in the comments, like, from hearing the story, what is one tiny baby step that you can take into action for you to be getting out there and being more seen, right? And sharing your experiences with other people, because you are exactly who your world needs. And we need you to be sharing your messages too. So reach out to Jill and reach out to me, connect, find people and places that you can be sharing more. And Jill, where is the best place for the viewers to connect with you?
Well, send me a quick email, support@jilllublin.com. Certainly connect on all my social media. I'm everywhere, I hope. and feel free to connect with me there. But if you have specific questions and need specific help with publicity or publishing a book or getting your message out in any way, please reach out via email. It's best, support@jilllublin.com.
Awesome. That's great. So make sure that you guys go do that. And then my last question I love to like talk about, Jill, and hear from you is, I'm a visionary. I love thinking big and knowing where I'm going while I'm still being present. So something I like to ask is, where do you see yourself 5 years from today? And I ask that because what we know from hearing your story in the last few minutes is that you have tools that have helped support you in living a more fearless life, showing up knowing that fear will come every day and that we get to make a decision how we move through those obstacles. So with yourself living more fearlessly, where do you see yourself 5 years from today, which 2025, what does that look like for you?
Oh, that's exciting. So definitely, more and more each year, I think it's important to call my own life the way I choose it, right? So for me, that's, I love adventure travel. I want to make sure that I'm always incorporating that into my life. I've started now a year of kindness with the book, The Profit of Kindness. And I want that program to be really majorly launched, affecting hundreds of thousands of people to create more kindness in their life. So
Mm,
that's exciting. So I'm doing a whole
yeah.
year of kindness coming right up. Pretty excited that we'll meet monthly in circles. Yay.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's exciting. And I just, the thing for me is living life, I guess what I'd call on my own terms. So what does that mean? That in my day, I have time for self-care, for exercise, for playing with my cats, for meditation, for development, so to speak, self-development. I have time for serving my clients and being the best I can for them in every way. So I think making sure that my life is structured so that it supports who I really am. That's my vision for 5 years from now. That and rocking those kindness circles in the kindness year would be great. I love my virtual publicity course. I'm very excited that it's gone virtual now and I'm able to serve a lot more people at a very
yeah.
affordable price. So all of that's been really good, and I wish for that all to multiply.
That's awesome. I love it. So with your books and your courses, is that all available on your website? Is that the best place to go find all of that?
Well, for the publicity course, go to publicitycrashcourse.com. And because you're listening to this, put in the code Stay Visible. It's all lowercase, case sensitive. So you get the super duper possibilities for that. And then go check out jilllublin.com/year of kindness. All one
Mm,
word, jilllublin.com/year of kindness. And for anything else, email us support@jilllublin.com.
perfect. Yay. Okay, go get those tools, guys. That sounds amazing. I'm gonna go check all of that out. Thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, bringing your experience, sharing a little bit about your story with us, and just spreading your word. And I love being able to be vulnerable and showing up and letting us know you used to think you used to let that hold you back, and now you use that as your superpower. Like I love when that is the case, when it is one thing and we turn it to our strength, and how we move through it to support other people. I think that is just gold. So thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Everyone that's watching, remember to love yourself and live fearlessly. Make it a great day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.